Hello everybody, my name is Zach, aka the Weather Gamer, bringing you NCL Season 10 Blitzle Division Draft Recap. We're looking for redemption this season. Chicago Corviknights are. It's been a rough go of it in NCL lately. Season 5 was the deep playoff run, my first time there. Season 6, I got bounced. Season 7, I made playoffs to get bounced by Slick. Season 8, I had to drop out, and then last season we crunched and choked a couple of games I shouldn't have choked, and missed playoffs by one game. So we're looking for some redemption. Ian still has his funky tier point hybrid system, so it's always a challenge trying to adapt to that. I had a plan. Obviously, the plan didn't go according to plan. I kid you, I got through the first 2 rounds fine, but then rounds 3 and 4, I got sniped by the same person back to back. And then from there, it kind of just all fell apart. I put it back together. I did some I made one post-draft transaction and one post-draft trade to try and patch things up. So, is this the greatest team I've ever drafted? No. Is this one of the better NCL teams I've drafted? I think so. I think this coalesced alright. But, we will see what happens. So, going into round 1, I actually didn't have a top 4 pick this time. Surprisingly. I have gone 4 for 4 previously, up to this point where I was in the top 4. And then have traded back, except for last season. This season I ended up in 9th, or 11th. Sorry, 11th. So all of those good fortunes finally came crashing down, and I ended up in 11th, which is fine. Oops, hang on. There we go. So with the first pick of my draft, I ended up taking Cinderace. Now, yes, it's Tier 1 Cinderace because it's Libero Race. However, it does have a complex ban on it. I am not allowed to run U-turn. If I try, it won't allow me to. So, I get Librace, which is phenomenal. Fantastic mon, just absolutely bops. I'm surprised that they allowed Librace to come in and be and do its thing. It was 200 points though, so deep pockets right off the bat for Cinderace that does not have momentum. I thought at first, before I took the pick, I wanted to check and see if I could run Blaze with U-turn. Nope, U-turn's just banned. So, however, Cinderace does still have a form of momentum. It gets Baton Pass, so I can still run banded sets. I just can't do any damage on my way out. I have to BP, potentially, or Scarf sets and BP. I just have to be very careful that I don't run Baton Pass on the bulk up set, or that I don't bulk up and then Baton Pass, because that's an auto disqualify for stat passing. So I have to be very, very careful with this. We all know Cinderace has become one of my favorite mons to use. It's become one of my aces. Cinderace is by far the most comfortable fire type that I have, as far as just, I click Fireball and I just kind of do damage. The fact that I have Libero now as well also makes it really, really nice for smashing down. With Stab, I can change out my type, so I don't have to worry as much about getting beat down if I'm the bulk up set and a bulky water comes in. Now I can go into becoming a fire type and take the Scalds alright, or a fighting type and take the Scalds alright. Sorry, something stuck in my throat there. I do run the risk of Scald Burn, obviously, but Libero Ace, very, very fun, very, very fantastic. Coming around into round 2, I went with the mascot pick in taking Corviknight. This might have something to do with the fact that I was kind of feeling it after getting 2 sweeps with Corviknight in WWC, and so I kind of want to keep using Corviknight since I'm hot with it. And I don't really have another steel type that I really want to use right now. Zone didn't go very well in BRL. And Skarmory's not that good. So I went and grabbed Corviknight. Now I've dumped 380 of my 1,000 points already in 2 Mons, so you can expect me to be a little bit point short going forward, and you'll see that kind of hurt me just a little bit. But Corviknight gives me defog. It gives me a nice bulky steel and flying type. Obviously, I now have 2 Mons that can set up with bulk up and just kind of spam. Corviknight can pivot with U-turn as well, so I've got a nice little bit of pivoting core. Corviknight is nice for taking out the rock types to some extent. It's nice taking out the no, it's really just able to take on rock types for Cinderace, but Cinderace also has Libero, so that's not as big of a problem. It does give me a ground immunity, which is nice, so just sucks that Corviknight doesn't have access to Stealth Rocks, but still, how often do I click rocks anyways? So yeah, we take Cinderace, Corviknight. So then the plan kind of went off the rails. Henry took Primarina on the way back down on the wheel, and then proceeded to take Crocodile on the way back up, which sniped me of my neck. I literally had messaged Jed about an hour before the picks went through, because I was going to go to bed, and I was still awake an hour later when I saw the picks go through, and I'm like, son of a bitch. Henry double sniped me, and that's kind of where the plan fell apart. I had to recover. It forced me to take some Mons earlier than I anticipated, and all in all, I just had a really, really rough go of it for a little bit until I figured out what I was going to do. So, I take Goodra in round 3. Now, this was always the plan, was to draft Goodra. I didn't want to spend 200 points on Cinderace, or on Garchomp, and I've used Garchomp quite a bit, and spoilers, I did pick up Garchomp in another league, because I picked up Goodra here, and I just haven't felt Hydreigon, Haxorus, or any of the other dragons lately. I do want to try Dragalge sometime, but I decided let's go back to Goodra. It's been a while since I used Goodra. NCL was where Goodra kind of was reborn and had a lot of success, and so I figured, okay, let's go Goodra. It gives me a nice special... I mean, Assault Vest Goodra just doesn't die. It just tanks, especially defensive hits. Paired with Corviknight gives me a nice defensive combo. Goodra is a nice Scarfer. It's a very, very potent Specs user. It can be built defensively if need be. It's kind of like Prima, a very massive special wall that, when built correctly, can function as a physically defensive wall if need be. Gooey, Sap Sipper, and Hydration are 3 really, really good abilities. Gooey is very good to help Cinderace deal with opposing Scarfers. Obviously, Sap Sipper is really, really nice for grass hits. Not that I'm too concerned about grass hits at this point, because Cinderace and Corviknight kind of just blow through grass types with no issue whatsoever. So, whoops, wrong way. I take Jellicent in Tier 3. I really didn't know what I was going to do with the loss of Primarina. I was kind of looking for a substitute for Primarina. I couldn't afford Tapu Fini, especially after Cinderace and Corviknight sucking up 380, almost 40%. It sucked up 38% of my points for the league, or for the team, off of 2 Mons. So, talk about heavy salary cap implications for those two. So I went with Jellicent. I have drafted Jellicent in the past. I've not drafted Jellicent in Gen 8. I know that Jellicent is very, very annoying with Will-O-Wisp Pex or Strength Sap to heal itself. I actually saw a Scarfed or / Spec set recently that was interesting because it catches them off guard. Jellicent functions as a ghost version of Primarina in my mind, or at least that's how I'm hoping to play it with me, because I love Primarina and the fact that I kind of just, I can run Specs, I can run Scarfed, I can run boosting item, and then also sponge hits and pivot. Jellicent doesn't get the ability to pivot, but that's okay. I do have a water checked now for Cinderace because I can run Water Absorb. And Jellicent actually has a pretty decent move pool coverage. I mean, it has Stab, Water, and Ghost type, obviously. It gets access to Dark Pulse. It gets access to Energy Ball, which is really, really nice for 1v1ing opposing water types, bulky water types that want to come in. It also has access to Ice Beam and Blizzard. It gets Giga Drain for more recovery against bulky water types. Gets Dazzling Gleam. Icy Wind for speed control. I doubt I'll ever run Physical Set, but it does have access to Poltergeist. It gets Sludge Bomb and Sludge Wave. It does have Trick Room if I need Trick Room. I mean, it has a wide variety move pool, which makes it really, really nice, and I'm kind of glad that I finally get a chance to go to Jellicent. I have used Primarina a lot lately, and before that it was the slow line, so I'm interested to see how Jellicent produces for me for this season. After Jellicent, we picked Scrafty. So originally this pick was Hitmonlee. After I made the Hitmonlee play, I realized I had made a mistake because I could not find a Dark type that would fit my team without sinking a massive amount of points into it. So I drafted Scrafty round 6. After drafting Hitmonlee, but the way things shifted around, Scrafty became my pick in round 5. Everything kind of shifted up from there. Spoilers. I have used Scrafty before. I really like Scrafty. I think Scrafty puts in a fair amount of work. There's the Dragon Dance set. There's, again, another bulk up mon, so 3 of my mons function very, very well as bulk up set. You can see Elemental Punches. It's got great Spadef and Fizdef at 115. Intimidate's really, really nice. Moxie's really, really nice for boosting sets. It can be a Choice Scarf, or it can be a banded user. Shedskin is Shedskin's really, really nice for absorbing statuses, because my team doesn't really want to take burns that much, which I do fix that later in the draft too, pretty nicely. And yeah, I mean, it's just, Scrafty's a good mon. I've had moderate success with it. It's a very powerful knockoff. And so yeah, I am glad to have Scrafty again. So this next pick, Mega Beedrill. I picked up Mega Beedrill at the end of the BRL season, which by the time this video goes up, it's still probably got BRL videos going up. But I have thoroughly enjoyed Mega Beedrill. And I think it definitely helped me get out of my 3-game losing slump I was in, or 3 out of 4 game losing streak that I was in. I need a mon that has that kind of top end speed. I need something over the base 130s, just because it fits my playstyle. Mons that I've been really, really good with: Zeraora, Dragapult, and BRL was only the second time I'd used Beedrill, but I think ending the season before going into playoffs, Beedrill was at like 3-1, and I've brought it to 2 games, so that was already good statistic start. It hits hard. Adaptability plus a base 145 attack stat. No, plus speed stat. What is Beedrill's? Mega Beedrill's, what is Mega Beedrill's attack stat? Mega Beedrill. 150. Plus adaptability, which gives you 2 times on stab. So poison and bug type moves go to double the power, making poison it hits like a truck when it U-turns. Like, when it U-turns, it just obliterates whatever's switching in. It's good damage. to set things up, and it will pair nicely with the fact that I can break down things with Scrafty, that like rock type and ground types that want to come in. Scrafty and Jellicent can deal with both of those. It forms a nice U-turn core. I have a decent amount of pivoting, and I'm excited to actually have Mega Beedrill for a full season to try it out. It's another really powerful knockoff user too. Base 150 attack knockoff, and because of its speed and its high attack stats, very easily I can run pretty bulky bees. So I am super excited to get Mega Beedrill here. And my team, yes, I know my team is very offensive physically, with Jellicent and Goodra really being the only special attackers right now. I will patch that up. Diggersby. Okay, so this was the free agent transaction that I made at the end of the draft. I dropped Hitmonlee and picked up Diggersby because I didn't have a ground type. I've only ever used Diggersby one other time. I picked it up mainly because it gave me that base 70, almost 80 speed stat that I was missing. It gives me stealth rocks. No. Spikes. It gives me spikes if I want them. Again, how often do I use hazards? But it does give me spikes, so I can spike up if need be. Fantastic banded user, fantastic scarf user. There is the ability to pivot with U-turn. It is a ghost immunity with it being normal type, which is nice because I know Spectre is running around the tier, or running around the league somewhere, so it'll be really, really nice to be able to not die to Shadow Ball. It is another knockoff user. I mean, huge power just makes this thing go hard. Yes, again, another physical attacker. My team does not want to see Will-O-Wisps, which, again, I will patch up here in a little bit. But, yeah, I'm going to give Diggersby a try here. I know, don't worry about the slides being a little funky. Like I said, everything kind of shifted around, and I didn't pay attention to that when I was making the slides, but get Diggersby here, which was the swap out. Shaman. So I lost Serp to Jed. I was originally planning, if you haven't figured it out yet, I was pretty much redrafting my BRL team. It was going to be with some improvements. It was going to be Cinderace. I was going to swap Corviknight in for Magnezone and drop my Dragon down to Goodra. I was going to pick up Crook, to give me another solid ground type and fix my dark type, because BRL I never have brought Umbreon, and it's shown when I've had issues by not having a solid ghost or dark type to bring in. So, but yeah, I pick up Shaman here. I have not used Shaman in Gen 8. The last time I used it was Gen 7. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I do have access to Seed Flare, which is really, really nice, because when you hit Seed Flares, you basically just beat something up. I always had a joke when I used Shaman, because everyone would say Shaman was trash, and I'd say, no, it's not. Shaman is, it's like, it's good when it hits a Seed Flare, but when it misses, it just does nothing for you. Well, you know, the joke I always had was you gotta treat your Shaman right. You gotta scratch it behind the flower, let it know it's loved, tell it it's good, and that it won't miss a Seed Flare. You've seen my track record with Cinderace and Pyro Balls. I've had some success with Shaman and Seed Flare, so we'll see. But you remember how my team doesn't want to take Will-O-Wisps? I mean, granted, Shaman doesn't want to switch into a fire type, but it can tank those Will-O-Wisps and Toxics and just switch in and out with Natural Cure. I wish that Shaman got Defog. I thought it did initially, and then when I was looking at its move pool, I'm like, oh no, never mind, no Defog. So I don't have Defog with that, unfortunate. So I'm still kind of relying on Corviknight unless I'm going to bring Big Dick B for Defog, which I will never do, but I'm happy with Shaman. Gives me a base 100, a true base 100, because I did draft 2 base 100s, and you'll see what I mean by true base 100. I know I still have a fairy type. I kept getting blasted on fairy types. The second I started thinking of taking a fairy type, nope, gone. So, yeah, I was like, okay. I guess we'll just take whatever fairy type's left at the end of the draft. So, we pick up Shaman here. Achu is back. The last time I used Achu was in PBAL, in Wi-Fi. I did enjoy it. Achu is not a bad mon. A lot of people at this point, when I still had Hitmonlee, were like, his tier 5 is going to be Pinrich, so he gets Surge Surfer and has a terrain team. Not the case. You'll see when I take my tier 5. This gives me Electric and Psychic typing, it gives me a Volt Switcher, it gives me another special attacker finally. Shaman and Raichu kind of patched up my really, really poor special attacking squad. Volt Switch is obviously really nice to pivot around. It does, because Pikachu can learn Surf, it does have access to Surf, which means opposing ground types can't freely come in where it catches a Surf. Obviously, nasty plot sets are really, really nice. If I face an electric team with terrain, I kind of just bop with Achu getting a speed boost. I know there's a Coco team running around, so they'll have to be very, very careful of me bringing Achu. Also have Grass Knot, if I remember correctly. No, it's Surf. That's what I run to beat ground types. Anyways, Achu's fun. I had fun with it the first time I used it in Wi-Fi, and now that I'm taking it on Showdown, I'll be interested to see how it goes because I'm not having to rush with timer. I can kind of take my time and plan with it, so it gives me a nice electric psychic type, and I feel comfortable with this electric and grass type because I struggled in the past with Cinderace being able to break bulky waters, and between Shaman and Achu, I feel like I can definitely break bulky waters, because once again, this team doesn't appreciate them. Cinderace, Scrafty, Beedrill, Corviknight, Diggersby all really don't want to face Vaporeon and other super bulky water types. So, speaking of that fairy type in the second base 100, I take Comfey here. At this point, it was Comfey, Slurpuff, or Aromatisse. Slurpuff would have been okay with webs, but it's another physical attacker primarily, which, again, my team already had enough of. And I probably wouldn't have brought Slurpuff to very many games. This gives me another defogger, so I have Comfey, Corviknight, Beedrill to defog. You're going to see a lot of Comfey and Corviknight when I need defog. It's going to be like Surf and BRL, where Surf came to basically every game and always had defog on it. But no, I mean, Triage is nice. If I can get Calm Minds up, I can priority Drain Kiss and just kind of run through teams. It was a very good mon in Gen 7. I'll see how it is in Gen 8. I don't know. It's a cheap discount fairy. My fairy Dragon Steel Core is definitely, you know, more defensive, more budget. But we'll see how it plays out. Really, again, what kind of screwed me was spending 380 points on 2 mons, and then not taking a Mega that gave me any points back because Beedrill was +0, so. And then the final mon of the draft, what am I missing? Rock and Ice type. You'd guess that I'd take Aurorus, but no, once again, Jed decided to jump me, and then, not only did Jed jump me, Hamu jumped me. See, Jed, Hamu, and Johan were part of the triad of meme, where basically one of them would draft Hitmontop, Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan, one drafted Raikou, Entei, Suicune. You know, each one of them had a dog, one had... I mean, it's just... And I played all 3 of them in the first 4 weeks, so you'll get to see the triad teams. But Hamu decided to snipe me on my backup pick to Aurorus, which was Lycanroc Dusk. I picked Armaldo and then traded with Hamu post-draft to pick up Lycanroc Dusk. I have now... Or Midnight, sorry. I have now drafted all 3 Lycanroc forms. I don't remember how Dusk form went for me because it's been so long. I remember Midday being alright on my Sand team, but that was the RNG League all the way back, the very first league I ever did. So, I get Lycanroc Midnight here, which is base 92 speed, I believe, so it gets me a 90s speed, which I was kind of missing. Gives me Stealth Rocks. I mean, I've seen Huff use this. Some success with Swords Dance and then like Sucker Punch plus coverage. No guard, so it always hits. So I don't have to worry about missing stone edges. How much does Lycanroc come? I don't know. We'll see. But I didn't really have much else in Tier 5 that I really wanted to take, and I'm forced into a Tier 5 anyways. So, might as well try out Lycanroc. Yes, I know the fault in this team is the fact that I'm basically no hazard setup. Shaman is my only cleric, having to do a lot of the back-end work. Well, Shaman and Comfey are my clerics, which have to do a lot of back-end work. And my team does not want to catch Will-O-Wisp to the face. But we'll see. I feel okay with this team. It's a lot of mons that I'm comfortable with, that I've used in the past. Lycanroc being the only exception to a mon that I haven't used before. And so we'll see how it goes. Let me know down below what you guys think of the team. If there's any suggestions you would make, so on and so forth. If you think we'll finally get back to playoffs and NCL after a 2-season hiatus, all that good stuff. So with that being said, I will see you guys next time.